Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at Brickworld Chicago 2022, and we've got the Multiverse Madness collab with the several builders who have built from the new Doctor Strange movie. So they'll be taking us through each of their sections. If you want to introduce yourself and start us off.
Thanks. I'm Jesse Sprick Galaxy, and I had the vision to pull my buddies with me and do this crazy portal, which is like 30 seconds of the movie, and we have 9 different worlds to show you. So the first one is Doctor Strange and America Chavez falling through a star-shaped portal where Scarlet Witch is shooting them, kind of blasting at them from Kamar-Taj. So I like the architectural elements, and it starts off our crazy journey through the multiverse of madness.
Yeah, and talk about the star technique that we'll see throughout here.
We went through a couple of renditions. Larry might talk about another one we did with headlight bricks, but it was too fragile. But it gives it a cohesive element for these portals and worlds, and us 4 or 5 collaborators from different states doing this all together.
Perfect. So we've got the great first scene, so we'll move on to scene number 2 then.
So I did the insect universe, or the bee universe, and so did a bunch of honeycomb with these Technic elements in the back with some, honeycomb mixed in there to kind of fill in the spots. Threw Ant-Man in there with a little, dish where he's maybe surveying the scene because, it's Ant-Man. He's small in that universe, so maybe he's checking out something in there. So that's what I did for that one.
You built a bee here.
Yes, the bee. Yeah, so I brick built that little bee in there. That was definitely something that was in that little world just for that split second during the movie. So yeah, that was my rendition of that.
Those Technic elements work so well for that honeycomb shape, and then you just kind of layered all the different yellow pieces on top.
Yeah. The Technic piece, it was a perfect piece for the honeycomb, that shape. And then it was great just putting the plates, the yellow and orangish yellow, just to kind of fill it in and kind of make a cohesive little world there for the bee.
Perfect. We'll move on to the third scene then.
Hey, it's me. So what I was able to build was actually if Tony Stark was able to do the AI that was protecting the whole world. So you're looking at the Stark drone universe right here. So they're bouncing through what is controlled by these AIs. Sort of like off of like the Spider-Man movie and even here at like we got a Doctor Strange here.
So tell us a little about these drone kind of pieces.
Yep. So you got the drones here. They were kind of, I looked at a couple of sets, and I just didn't like the way they looked, so I kind of added my little spin on them. So each one is probably a little bit different. When you got scraps, you put them together like that. And I think it kind of worked with the tubing and everything like that too. So.
That tubing is a great technique where you got some like the macaroni connections with the round bricks.
Yes. I got the macaronis with the round bricks and some of the actual like textured tubes as well too. It worked real well, and I learned that like with tubing, sort of like tubing like this, you kind of have to overlay it so that actually gave it more like depth.
What is that bottom white layer like? You've got kind of a bunch of clear window pieces in there.
Yes. So these are the actual buildings that I guess it would be like Stark Industries. And so I kind of did it like a vortex a little bit. So you got buildings laying down and buildings laying on top. And so there's a couple of satellites and everything because they're just bouncing through this universe here.
I like the little circle around the star in this one as well.
Yes, that actually came from Bender Brick. He said, when we were back in Portland, he said, look, if you ever do a Doctor Strange, please use this. And lo and behold, I talked to they're like, we're doing Doctor Strange. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use it.
There we go. Great work. Thank you. So we'll move on to a very, very different looking scene for the next one.
Yeah, hi, I'm Larry from Denver, last name Lepard. So this is off of about a half a second portion of the movie. So spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, because the movie only came out about 7 or 8 weeks ago. So we really had to rock this out. So they tumble through prehistoric Manhattan. And to touch base back on these portals, so for those of you that don't know the character, America Chavez creates these star-shaped portals. And we ended up, again went through a couple of different iterations. But we started out with this template. ultimately, we just came back and used the template.
Yeah.
You know, the first idea was the best idea because they're strong enough, and with the headlight bricks, they do have a great clutch, but to get those angles, we had to use some little pins, and they're just too fragile to make, you know, ultimately, I think we have 12 stars going through here. And so, yeah, we had to play around with different sized dinosaurs because, again, it's to get dinosaurs into a very small vignette like this was a bit tricky.
Was there a standard for each of these builds in terms of the size that everybody was going for?
Yeah, we went with, and some of them are a little bit different. Not all even have a backdrop, but we wanted to go with a base plate and base plate on the bottom and in the back. Then we had each set up where the star was going to be, and that was about it, you know.
Perfect. Well, great work. We'll keep moving on to another very colorful part of the layout here. What is this one?
Hey, Troy, watch your wife. So this is the paint universe, right? I actually had Troy's wife here, Alicia, help me with the backdrop. Shout out to ABC Builds. Donnie, there's no way I had these many colorful slopes that actually made this build, because when you're talking about paint, you're trying to take something that's blocky and make it curvy. FlexTube was my friend on this, Donnie. Thank you. But my friend here, Alicia, helped me with the backdrop. Tell them how you made the backdrop.
Well, the backdrop was, according to our cruise director, Jesse, necessary for the amalgamation of the mock to work. So in about an hour, these guys were cruising around the hall, and I'm like, I'm going to make all of these into a little splashy backdrop. So there's a little paint drippy motif at the top, and I built it up a little bit in the back just to have it, because it is a little top heavy. So it's supported in the back, and it just works really well.
Yeah, it's a great combination throughout this whole build of like slopes and plates, and then even some of the rounded 1x1s just to create all those different shapes.
Yep, absolutely. And that was my favorite part. Something so simple with those rounds and the plates made that content like just right through the roof here. And the colors and everything. I was concerned with the colors. I'm like, man, I don't have all the colors I need. I want this to look right, but just putting those colors in the right place kind of give me that curvature that I was going for.
And now there's a backdrop, so Jesse is happy.
Yes, Jesse's happy, Troy's happy.
There was a lot of shaming going on. It was a lot of shame. You think you know somebody, but there's a lot of shaming that happened in today.
How can we make this better? Constantly zhuzhing things up, so
He's
we try
worse than the Brickmaster Jamie.
Perfect. Hey, you got to keep improving. We're going to move on from that build then to a much less colorful section of the layout here. What's happening in this section?
Troy Anderson, Agents Mock. So I started with this insect universe over here, but the second one here, they kind of twisted my arm because I kind of had some experience doing, black and white city scenes. I don't know if I'll remind you guys about the Spider-Verse mock that we did for Bricks Cascade.
We have that video on the channel, so people can check that out.
Absolutely. So they were kind of twisted my arm and was like, hey, you should do the noir or the 1930s noir universe. So I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. But this one was a little bit different because I wanted to try out this forced perspective to where we're kind of like starting out with minifigure scale in the front, and then it's kind of like going farther back into the distance, and all the buildings are getting smaller and almost getting to near micro scale type size. So it was different enough from what I did before. But and I created this little Technic frame around the front here with this border, which really kind of like framed in that forced perspective kind of look that I was looking for. And
Great work with the balconies as well. I really like how that kind of stands out on the left side.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that Model T right there, that Ford Model T, was my little attempt at the scale to fit the scale in there, and yeah.
It turned out great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So come back over to a little more color. Is this your section as well?
This is my last one that I did, a really quick one, I got to be honest. But, this was my main contribution to Brick World Chicago for these guys. I love these guys. Anyways, this was the Frozen universe or the Ice universe. Again, some of these worlds are like a split second in the movie.
So in your defense, you didn't have a whole lot to work with.
Didn't have a whole lot. You kind of it's left up to interpretation. So I kind of like the effect though with those icicles like jutting out from the back there. it's a pretty cool effect for what we're trying to achieve here in this collaboration. So
Perfect. Great work. We've got a couple sections left here. So what's this next one?
Back to me, Jesse. So this is, I'm not sure what world. So this is like 30 seconds of the movie, all these different worlds that they're falling through the portals. And we have like a second or two to pull some content. So I'm calling it kind of the stairs pyramid.
MC Escher.
Yeah, MC Escher world where you got staircases going this way and that way. And some architecture that I really love to do.
Sort of an Egyptian feel to it.
Yes, yeah. I was, going to call it a pyramid world, so this would be a really weird world to live in.
The black background kind of contrasts very nicely with the tan.
Yeah, it's more spacey here, and it shows you the template of kind of, I was the first to finish something and say, hey guys, let's all go with like a base plate on the bottom, base plate on the back, like either mosaic it or brick build it and put the star there, and it'll all come together, I swear. And it sure did.
Perfect. And that takes us, I think, to the final scene then.
So this was great because in this scene we actually have a couple minutes of footage versus just a couple of frames. But so they come spilling out of the last portal onto the roof, and you continue on with the movie. My favorite part of what I did are two very simple elements that are in here. One is the frog. He's not kissing the frog. He had a little bit of travel sickness. So I loved that effect worked so well. And her pizza balls.
It's great, but the landscaping work is great as well, with like vines and flowers everywhere.
Well, it's a great scene in the movie, and in that universe, it all is very colorful and green, and there's a lot of plant life. So I kind of put it all over the place. It was a little tricky because of the elements themselves are much bigger than in what real life flowers would be to the scale of these minifigures. So I did get a chance to use some different elements with the purple. We got some bow ties and sunglasses in there, and I've got a diving flipper bush in the back. So
very, very nice. Great work to everyone here. Thank you so much for all the work that all of you put into this collab. While this was a very short scene in the movie, it certainly created a lot of iconic scenes that you can recreate here with LEGO. So thank you for all your work, and congratulations on the nomination for the award as well. Definitely well deserved. Keep up the good work, guys. Looking forward to some more.